live broadcast on your favorite footballer updates channel. It's a pleasure to be back on this beautiful Tuesday night, for which we'll be doing the UEFA Champions League watch along for that game between Chelsea and Barcelona. We really keeping our eyes on all the other updates that will be coming our way in as far as tonight is concerned. So, like I said, it's a pleasure to be back once again, and that's where our concentration will be tonight. For those of you that were part of our morning broadcast, which came a bit, slightly late, but thank you for being part of that. In as far as supporting what we do goes. So allow me have our, headline or title updated. So that we can go ahead with this broadcast. Meanwhile, I'm still waiting I'm still waiting for my feed to come through in as far as that particular game is concerned. So please do bear with me as we go ahead. Today, like I promised you, we try to endeavor to keep time. Sometimes, stubbornly, things get out of control, but we try to do our best. So yeah, that will be the gist of the conversation to this beautiful Tuesday night. Like I said, plenty of action will come our way, including the game between Chelsea and Barcelona, while Olympic Marseille are up against, Newcastle, Dortmund at home against Villarreal. That game is also, most of those games are kicked off. In the earlier games, Benfica got their first victory of the season for the UEFA Champions League when they beat up against Ajax by 2-0, while Union St. Gilloise beat up against a 10-man Galatasaray by 1-0. And Ada Unai they are getting the red card in that game. But in the other games, Manchester City are up against Bayer Leverkusen, while Slavia Praha are up against Athletic Bilbao. And then, so that wraps up what is to come our way tonight in as far as the UEFA Champions League is concerned. Of course, it's still goalless between the two sides, but we do expect a very, very electric night game of football. I do not expect to see a dull 0-0 or just a 1-1. I'm hoping and expecting for more goals to be in this game. Particularly, my own prediction was a 3-2 victory for Barcelona. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the game does end in a 2-all draw or any other result other than my own prediction, because at this level, over two big teams, European giants, Chelsea having won it twice, and Barcelona, I think 5 times, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So really, anything can happen. So really, expect anything out of this game, whatever the outcome will be here to bring it to you. But it is Chelsea probing through Estabao and Barcelona having to really, really defend hard. So let's expect more of that action to be coming through tonight. Beautiful, run by Chelsea taking a quick corner while Barcelona still trying to organize themselves. Oh, and it's a goal. Oh, the referee has whistled for a handball. In the build-up to the goal, but Joan Garcia had been penetrated. That Barcelona side had been penetrated. Guys, please do bear with me in case, of course, obviously, I know for a fact that my feed is slightly behind for those of you that are watching the game on TV. So bear with me. It's due to, the usual shenanigans of low bandwidth that, but there looks to be a handball. But it's Wesley Fofana, yes. Looks like the ball scraps off his arm before landing in Enzo Fernandez's way to score. Yeah, it's a handball. It's a handball. It's fair and square. There's no way around it. It is a handball. They cannot escape that one. And looks like Chelsea there with the early scare for Barcelona. And like I said, expect a very, very long night for both defenses, because both teams, I find them a bit lacking defensively, but they're quite athletic, they're quite good in terms of their midfield and going forward. So expect much of that to happen, So yeah, that's so far what is transpiring in this game. That is what is happening in as far as the UEFA Champions League is concerned. I hope I'm not missing out on any comments, but do chat up to us. Kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel. Hi, SD. How are you doing? Oh, wow. Barcelona came close. Chelsea conceding possession in a very dangerous area. Captain Richie James being the culprit in this particular case, but Ferran Torres could not find the back of the net. It kisses the outside of the upright. That's a huge let-off. That's a huge let-off for Chelsea. Who do you think will win? Please do not say Chelsea. Had you asked me for a prediction and then gag my mouth before I even give my prediction? Like I said, to be honest, on based on what I did I went Barcelona's way. I said my prediction was that Barcelona will win the game by 3-2. That was my prediction. However, like I also said, given the sort of nature or the historical context between the two sides, where there's only been one for each side on many occasions that they've met previously in the UEFA Champions League, that each of these has won the fixture, I've not ruled out a 2-2 draw, but I went with a 3-2 victory for Barcelona. They're one of the very high scoring teams in European football. So expect goals to come. But because they also conceded 3 against Braga is the reason as to why I'm not ruling out Chelsea scoring at least 1 or 2 in this very game. For those of you that are just joining us, kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel as you do join our UEFA Champions League night watch along on this beautiful Tuesday night as we speak. Majority of the games are still goalless. It is Newcastle that have already broken the deadlock through Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes having a moment of his life, having scored a brace over the weekend against Manchester City, has fired Newcastle in the lead away to Olympique Marseille. Beautiful stuff. But Rich James goes low, but Joan Garcia is in the right position to collect. Most of the games are in between the 7th and the 10th minute, depending on how soon they did kick off. So yeah, just let me know what your thoughts are. Meanwhile, SD, what's your personal prediction? What's your personal prediction for this game? Oh, that's just a foul. So it's Balde venturing forward. Balde. Barcelona all the way. SD there is saying Barcelona all the way. Okay, Barcelona play with this incredibly high line that is really, really dangerous. That is really, really leaves them exposed or vulnerable, to say the least. And I think Chelsea must have analyzed this, because I see It's early moments in the game, but they are keeping Pedro Neto up forward to stay with Ronald Araujo and whoever other Barcelona player is staying in behind there to try and get them on the break because they overcommit and numbers up front. But as we look at that, let's look at how they've sort of set up their own starting, excuse me, their own starting 11s. Let's have a look at a look of things in terms of the team setups. Chelsea have Robert Sanchez in goal. They do have Malo Gusto, Wesley Fofana, Trevor Chalobah, and Marco Correa. In midfield, it's Rachel James, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Alejandro Garnacho, Julian Estevao, and Pedro Neto. Pretty much like we expected or predicted in that midfield that that Chelsea could pull Rachel James into midfield to play alongside Caicedo and Fernandez ahead of them because they want to be a bit conservative or more defensively solid in that middle of the park, and knowing what the prowesses of Barcelona are in as far as their attacking strength for Barcelona is concerned. So that's what they've gone with. Sort of a double pivot of Caicedo and Rachel James, and then a sort of a traditional number 8, both a defensive and attacking midfielder in Enzo Fernandez in that number sort of 10 role there. Then on the side of Barcelona, they do have Joan Garcia in goal, Pau Kubasi and Ronald Araujo in their centre-back pairing, Alejandro Balde at left back and Jules Koundé at right back, Frankie de Jong, Eric Garcia, Fermin Lopez, Ferran Torres, Lamine Yamal, and Robert Lewandowski. Those are the starters for that Barcelona side. Rafinha and Marcus Rashford have made it to the bench for Barcelona, while Joao Pedro and Liam Delap have also made it to the Chelsea bench. So looks like both sides do have the firepower should they feel the need to make amendments in as far as their starting 11s are concerned in this game. But already very, very beautiful game of football. It's fast-paced. Jesus Christ. I'm really, really hoping against hope because I've already seen signs of internet interruptions, but I'm really hoping against hope that not be the case throughout the course of this broadcast as we keep tabs on all that action that is ongoing from Stamford Bridge, as we speak. Really, Barcelona, you could have done better. William Esteban. And again, some of these changes that, for example, Joao Pedro being dropped, Liam Delap being dropped from Chelsea's 2-0 victory, team that beat up against Burnley over the weekend, speaks to what we did also mention in the build-up to this game in our preview, that Chelsea are one of those teams that do change their team more often than any other team in Europe in as far as team changes go. There's a Barcelona player on the floor in the Chelsea area. Wow. Lamine Yamal with a bit of a chip of the ball. Trevor Chalobah putting in the nudge in their own, I don't know, who is it? You will have to be careful because on another day, you could concede a penalty. Lamine Yamal over-delayed his pass, and by the time he floats in that ball, his teammates are offside, so they can't do anything. Mhm. Meanwhile, today, Lamine Yamal makes his 119th appearance for Barcelona. Uh, that's for the 18-year-old. Uh, was that a penalty? I mean, it was a bit of a 50-50. It would have been harsh if the referee had given it against Chelsea, but also if he had given it, there would have been a reason to justify it because of Trevor Chalobah's nudge, on the Barcelona player, So the last thing you want is give the referee a decision to make in the first place, you know. Famin Lopez was the player that was nudged by Trevor Chalobah, and then Robert Sanchez's clearance with the fall through goes on against. Oh, it's a bit of a knee, high knee. Uh, his sort of lower thigh part and the knee is what clashes with Famin Lopez. So, like I said, if the referee had given it as a penalty, Trevor Chalobah had given referee would have given the referee justification to give it anyway. But given that he has not given it, it's a bit of a 50-50. You could say, given that Famin Lopez wasn't so much in control of the ball, that he was just trying to run onto it, that's why you do not have it given, really. So for me, I agree with the on-field decision, but like I said, I would have understood should they have looked in a different a school of thought or direction altogether for that decision. Barcelona's defensive high line is something to really watch tonight. Is something to really watch tonight because I feel they are consistently vulnerable. If you time your run so perfectly, you could sort of you know you could have a sniff on goal if you time your run so well. Frankie De Jong, Frank De Jong, alongside you know Eric Garcia and Fermin Lopez are trying to get a foot in that midfield. Excuse me. The game is still goalless, so you're not missing much. We've entered into the 20th minute of the game there. And in the other games, there's still no goals other than that Harvey Barnes goal for Newcastle against Olympic Marseille. Remember, Olympic Marseille has players like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, um, players like Mason Greenwood, Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg, formerly at Tottenham Hotspurs. Those are some of the notable players that you could look onto. Then they have, I think, Igor Paxio, the one signed from Ajax. Surprisingly, the game is a bit more physical than I figured it would be. The game is a bit more physical than I figured it would be. Bye, Robert. Good night. Ali, today, please have fun streaming. Good night. Thank you so much, SD, for sparing the time to be with us. Thank you so much for the love and support. Until next time, stay blessed. Beautiful, beautiful watch. Beautiful watch. Just going long, but cannot find Ganacho. Gusto. Just looking lively. I hope they do not get enticed into playing the high line that Barcelona equally play, because then that will be playing in their hands. Just have a free kick in a very, very decent area if they can make it count. Richie James has scored a free kick this season before, so want to keep an eye on every time Chelsea win a free kick. It's taken longer than expected, and it's in. Chelsea had scored once again, but goal has been ruled out for what? For offside. Pedro Neto. Oh, looks like Barcelona sort of hold their line and got ruled out. That's two for Chelsea, but all have been ruled out for offside. Chris, hi, Chris Cross. Hi, how are you doing, my brother? Good to have you on the broadcast. Kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel. There. I mean, no, it shouldn't matter. Whether Trevor Chalobah touches it or not, given how he runs towards the ball, the intent is to get a touch on it. It shouldn't matter. He's in an offside position and he goes for the ball. So there's interest from him. If he had remained static and not moved, whatsoever, then Chelsea would have had a case to make. Meanwhile, in the other games, Bayer Leverkusen have scored against Manchester City. Alejandro Grimaldo has scored in the 23rd minute to give Bayer Leverkusen the lead. That game is in the 26th minute as we speak. Again, Barcelona's high line being suspect and susceptible to the fast-paced, forward players of Chelsea in Pedro Neto, Willian Estaval, and Alejandro Garnacho. This time round, Pedro Neto being the one going on the run and firing his attempt, way over the bar. Barcelona living dangerously in the last couple of 7-8 minutes or thereabouts. I can see Black Rose is back with us. Says, how many wives do you have? Is it halal to have more than one? I do not think that's the perspective in which I would want to look at it. But yeah, let's just say not many. Oh, really? How did the referee let that fly? Thought there was a foul in there. Ganacho can't find the way through. Kunde in the way. Caicedo, Fernandez. Oh, nice block. Chelsea are pinging in, Barcelona, and they are struggling to cope. They are struggling. They're having to defend in quite deep, quite deep. But thank you so much, Black Rose, for your question. Although it's a little bit odd, must say. Stay with him. Oh, Barcelona do not give this the run you expect to. Have a feeling they will go behind because Chelsea have looked attackingly the better team. Oof. Enzo Fernandez almost getting the leading goal, but I think it was Ronald Araujo, actually Balde, yes, puts it over the bar with a sliding tackle. If Chelsea keep up this kind of pressure, then sooner or later they're going to penetrate that Barcelona wall. And it's in at long last. It's in. Chelsea leads. Who is the actual goal scorer? The goal was literally coming. It was literally coming. It was literally coming. I don't know. Is it Marco Correa that scores or is it Esteval? No. Okay. Esteval starts the corner. It's Correa gets played in. Looks to be onside. Looks to be onside. Oh, Pedro Neto should be claiming this one because it takes the flick. Oh, it's an own goal. It's an own goal. This should pass for an own goal. But the goal is being checked to see whether Marco Correa was in an offside position. Is Messi's longer or Ronaldo's longer? What do you mean? What's longer? Well, the goal stands, and it's an own goal by Jules Koundé. It's an own goal by Jules Koundé. So Chelsea lead by 1-0. Barcelona just have been all over the place in the last 10-12 minutes of this game. Chelsea have been at the top of affairs. And this is the thing I've said about Chelsea. For those of you that were part of our morning broadcast that was particularly previewing this game, I did say that if you have the Chelsea that turned up against Tottenham Hotspur and gave them a run for their money, really only winning by 1-0, a game in which they could have scored much more, then they will have a very big chance. But then if the Chelsea that lost to Sunderland, or the one that nearly fumbled the game against Wolverhampton Wanderers in the EFL Cup before winning it 4-3, then they could have a long evening. Meanwhile, Spanish teams struggle against English teams. This season, Liverpool have beaten up against Real Madrid. Arsenal have beaten up against Athletic Bilbao by 2-0. And here we are, and Chelsea are giving Barcelona a run for their money. Of course, Barcelona beat up against Newcastle. But I think it was by 2-0 in the match day 1 of the Champions League. So, hi Robert, just came rushing. I just came rushing back here after I saw 1-0 to Chelsea. Yes, it was a bit of a scrappy goal that ended up with Jules Koundé scoring in the back of his own net because Chelsea started a short corner. There's a bit of an interplay between Willian Esteban and I do not remember who exactly before he plays in Marco Correa, crosses the ball into the box. Pedro Neto takes a flick on it. It bounces in between the legs of two Barcelona defenders before Jules Koundé, guides it into the back of his own net to give Chelsea the lead. So, but Barcelona have been all over the place in the last 15 minutes of this game. Chelsea have been really, really on top of their game. On top of their game. And the front three of Pedro Neto, Willian Esteban, and Alejandro Garnacho, given their pace, plus Enzo Fernandez coming in behind them, are really, really causing Barcelona so many troubles. So many troubles. So that's how the goal came about. Alejandro Garnacho got himself into the match officials' book for over complaining about what they deemed to be a foul on the other end against Lamine Yamal. Meanwhile, Lamine Yamal has hardly had an impact in this game so far. He's conceded possession a couple of times. He's delayed a pass, and things like that. It's yet to click for him. I do suspect that we will see Marcus Rashford and Rafinha in the second half of this game. Otherwise, Lamine Yamal, things have not happened for him. Of course, he's just returning from injury. You could excuse that lack of full fitness, Moises Caicedo is having a brilliant game so far in that midfield. He's been very, very effective helping to win that ball back. Ferran Torres. Wow. Lamine Yamal didn't get the strength of touch that he had hoped for, but it was a brilliant cutback from Ferran Torres. Barcelona's counter press has not been that effective. It's not been very effective. And that's why they're struggling, because every time that counter press is not effective, then it's your midfield that then becomes suspect quite quickly. And because they play with a very high line Barcelona, oftentimes Chelsea are getting in behind them with Willian Esteban and Pedro Neto alternating on who stays ahead on each occasion. I don't know how many times Chelsea have been offside because they are really, really trying to beat that, high line, and offside sort of trap for Barcelona. I think the interplay was between Willian Esteban and Malo Gusto before getting to Cucurella. Bit of a scrappy one, but it's a goal anyway. Oh, beautiful pass. Was there handball by Fermin Lopez? Lamine Yamal arriving. Lamine Yamal versus Marco Cucurella was bound to be a very, very interesting encounter. And so far, Cucurella has come out on top on a couple of occasions. The two Spaniards are facing off with each other tonight. Is there a Chelsea player that has played more football than Cucurella this season? So Barcelona's midfield feels a bit lightweight. Eric Garcia, of course, Eric Garcia is not a midfielder, he's a defender. But there's so many loose balls being played in there. That Barcelona midfield feels a bit lightweight. Eric Garcia, Fermin Lopez, and Frankie de Jong, they're lacking a bit of steel. And that's where Chelsea are winning the battles. The midfield of Richie James, Moises Caicedo, and Enzo Fernandez, so far winning the battle against them. Just Kunde almost gave that one away. Why are you turning back? Really, Barcelona? Are you looking to play that kind of game? No, you're capable of it. It's a bit of a risk. It's a risk one. No wonder you've given the ball away. Jules Kunde has been quite busy. You're giving away too much space. Neto hesitating to shoot. Sure, Garnacho is looking for space to do so. Can't find it. Ball goes to Cucurella. How many times does Enzo Fernandez have to be offside in this game? He was offside indeed. Balde sprinting away. This is going to be a yellow card for Malo Gusto for pulling Balde Did I just jinx Barcelona's win? Not really. like, I think the only thing that has surprised me so far is how dominant Chelsea have been in terms of winning that ball back through Malo Gusto and Moises Caicedo, but also carrying it further forward quite quickly, and the ineffectiveness of Barcelona's counter press. I think I've found that a little bit surprising for taste in this game so far. Because of their midfield, like I said, their midfield feels a bit lightweight, and Chelsea have been the better side overall. So you did not jinx it. Chelsea have just been better overall. They've been just better overall. Oh. Just couldn't nutmeg the, I think, was it what? Araujo? Arsenal fans, be scared. Be scared because this Chelsea side is really, really good. Be scared for your lives. This Chelsea side is really, really good. And if they beat up against Arsenal, that means they will have reduced that 6-point deficit to just 3. And guess who? Cole Palmer is around the door knocking to be back into action. And we know how very effective Cole Palmer is. Let's see. It's a cold season. Remember, we've entered winter, so it's really, really cold out there. Players, I've been seeing pictures of different players training, and they all have their gloves on, sort of long sleeve kits and things like that, because it's really, really cold out there. Oh, somebody's getting booked. Oh, Barcelona reduced to 10 men. The captain, Ronald Araujo, has been sent off. Second booking. That's where I ask, what were you thinking? You already booked, you know that. And the first booking was for him arguing too much with the referee for what he had deemed to be a foul on Lamine Yamal. And he was booked. Now he commits a foul, I think, against Ganacho, and he's been sent off. Oh, it was against Kukorea. Sorry. It's a yellow card. You can't argue with that. Misses the ball, sweeps him off his feet with the other leg. Yesterday, a 10-man Everton beat up against Manchester United by a goal to nil. It's often said that it's really, really, there's that cliche that you'd rather play against 11 than 10, but Barcelona have already been that poor, so it's only going to get worse for them. And I mean, I do not, there's no way Barcelona winning this one 3-2. There's no way Barcelona winning it anyway, in my opinion, unless Chelsea get reduced to 10 men. Sorry, and we get back to a balanced equation. Against Chelsea, fighting for those 50-50s and winning them quite effectively has been quite encouraging to watch, really. One thing I've loved about Balde, he has quick feet, he has good game reading and positioning, he has the dribbling skills, and then Eric Garcia has been pushed to centre back. As Barcelona look to think, if your hands flick, Lamine Yamal is the player to sacrifice. He's not been great. I think he will be the player to sacrifice. A lot of our games are into halftime. Bordeaux Guillemot are leading up against Juventus by 0-0. Looks like Luciano Spalletti is not having the dream start to his Juventus career as he would have hoped. Newcastle are leading by 0-0. And halftime between Chelsea and Barcelona is 1-0, thanks to that own goal by Jules Koundé. At halftime, Manchester City are behind against Bayer Leverkusen by 0-0. That goal scored by Grimaldo, Alejandro Grimaldo. And then, yeah, there've been very, very few goals, I must acknowledge. In the first half, only 4 games have at least a goal in each. The other games, that's Slavia Praha against Bilbao is still goalless. So yeah, same applies for Napoli against Qarabag, as well as Borussia Dortmund against Villarreal. So yeah, that's what has happened in the opening 45 minutes. But to say that Chelsea have been the better side does even feel like an understatement. If anything is to go by, Chelsea have dominated. Chelsea have dominated. Dominated, of course, the shots on goal with as many as 6, although only 1 has been on target. Barcelona only had 3, only 1 was on target. Barcelona enjoyed majority possession with the 52% compared to Chelsea's 48%. Chelsea's passing accuracy has been much better at 94% compared to Barcelona's 89%. And yeah, we already have a red card in this game for for Ronald Araujo there. And if things remain the way they are, that means Chelsea can climb to as high as 6th place with a victory over Barcelona. While Newcastle, if they can win tonight, they will go up to 4th place as things stand. With 12 points, should they be able to beat up against Olympique Marseille. So there's still a bit of a long way to go. Meanwhile, the result could see Barcelona slip into 15th place. We're talking about last season's semi-finalists who got knocked out at the hands of Inter Milan on a 7-6 aggregate, Excuse me. Napoli are not doing well in this season is UEFA Champions League. 5 games played, so far only 1 win, 2 draws and 2 losses. Of course, this one is yet to get done against Qarabag, but I don't know, for some reason, Antonio Conte's teams tend to struggle in as far as the UEFA Champions League is concerned. I've never particularly come to understand exactly why that is always the case, but, it is something to to it's something that you sort of think about, in that regard. So really, anyways, like I said, tomorrow, do not miss out on the huge game. I will be here for the Champions League top of the table clash between Bayern Munich and Arsenal. That game is going to be at the Emirates Stadium. Bayern Munich are still unbeaten in the German Bundesliga. I think they've won 10 out of 11 games and drawn one. The draw coming up against Union Berlin. Then Inter Milan will be in action against Atletico de Madrid. Atletico de Madrid do not find themselves anywhere within the top 15. They are in 18th place with only 2 wins out of 4 and 2 losses, while Inter Milan have won 4 out of 4. So it's going to be a bit of a very difficult game. I was reading some, comments from Diego Simeone's pretty much a press conference, and he did say he has that ambition or that dream that one day he will manage Inter Milan, really. So Raymond Atonika says hi. Hi Raymond, how are you doing, my brother? Good to have you on the broadcast or on the channel. Really, thank you so much for being with us. Then okay, let's I'm trying to find the exact comments from my guy from Diego Simeone in relation to what he thinks will be the case. Should his future, all the stars align to his preferences in as far as his future lies. He said, and this is according to Fabrizio Romano, he says, and I quote, "It doesn't depend on just me, but in my coaching career, I can imagine myself managing Inter one day. I think it will happen one day." So the Argentine there has his convictions that one day he will get the time or the opportunity to be at the helm of Inter Milan. He's been at Atletico de Madrid for what? For close on 14 years, thereabout, I really won them 2 La Liga titles, taken them to 2 UEFA Champions League finals in 2014 and in 2016, losing to Real Madrid on both occasions, And then in the other news, Manchester United have strengthened their recruitment department by appointing Kyle Macaulay as the head of senior scouting. The 39-year-old joins Manchester United after spells at West Ham United, Chelsea, and Brighton. A well-regarded scout will report to Christopher Vivell. That's according to David Ornstein of The Athletic. Meanwhile, also speaking ahead of tomorrow's game, that was Mikel Arteta. He did say that Victor Gyökeres will be out of the game against Bayern Munich, but is trying to recover for the upcoming games. Arteta did say that the feelings are really, really good for both Victor Gyökeres and Kai Havertz. In next few days, they are going to have a repeat scan to see if we can push them for the weekend. That means the weekend, that's the game against Chelsea. But among those that have returned is Martin Odegaard has returned to training. Of course, Gabriel Jesus has been in training for a bit of time now, although Mikel Arteta did say they will look to test him with some internal matches to see how quickly they can fast track him to full fitness. I was reading some reports earlier on. I do not know to what truthfulness that they do weigh, but there is speculation that Arsenal could play Manchester United in a behind closed door, friendly to try and strengthen or to try and get players that have been out through injury back to full fitness. Meanwhile, Arsenal are closely monitoring Spanish midfielder Rodrigo Mendoza and are weighing up a potential move for the 20-year-old. Arsenal face intense competition from other European giants if they decide to formalize their interest. That's according to Sam Dean of the Telegraph there. So that's in as far as that's in as far as transfers are concerned. Then we know for a fact that Liverpool are looking to be very, very active in the January transfer window. They are looking to bring in a winger, and they have their sights on Antoine Semenyo. They are looking to bring in a centre back. They still have their sights on Crystal Palace's captain. That's Mark Guehi, and then they're also looking around possibly for another striker, according to Sky Sports Germany there. So those are some of the reports that we are getting, that they are looking to splash some more cash come the January transfer window to try and help Arne Slot, because whereas his team is laden with whereas his team is laden with so much talent, injuries have also been a little bit of an issue for him, with the likes of Giovanni Leoni going out through an anterior cruciate ligament injury, a hamstring injury for Jeremy Frimpong. We know Alison Ramsey-Specker was equally out for some time with a similar injury. Then Alexander Isak has sort of been in and out of the team through injury and things like that. So, and then, of course, the lack of form for some players like Mohamed Salah, the whole team being sort of all over the place in that way, I do not know. But looks like, Liverpool will be really, really intentional in as far as attacking the winter transfer window. So we'll be here to keep you posted on all those developments and see where the journey leads for the transfers. But do not expect so much activity to come in the direction of the likes of Arsenal. I think they're very comfortable with where they are. Girassi, meanwhile, squad to give Borussia Dortmund the lead in that game. But I think, yes, that goal came in the second minute of stoppage time of the first half. So Dortmund went into halftime with a 1-0 lead in that game, in that game. So that's what's happened over there. Then, like I said, tomorrow's game, I mean, we cannot speak about it enough. I remember it was last season, but when Arsenal got drawn at the quarterfinals against Bayern Munich, and Arsenal fans, because they felt so confident about that team at the time, celebrated. And I did make a video to say Arsenal fans were wrong to celebrate that draw, because pedigree-wise, historically, Bayern Munich just had the edge over them. And it proved, because I think Bayern Munich beat them by 1-0 at home, and then they drew the reverse fixture, and then Bayern Munich went through. So it's going to be a huge contest. I think it's not a make or break kind of game for both Bayern Munich and Arsenal. I think whereas either party would be very, very happy to win it, I think even a draw could serve their interests. Really could do them well, because I believe, particularly for a team like Arsenal are pushing for a Premier League title, the game over the weekend against Chelsea will be more important. And that's not to say that maybe rest all your players or try and that do not fight enough for that win against Bayern Munich. That's not what I'm trying to say. Of course, it would serve them better if they can win both games, but I feel that game against Chelsea is really, really significant. Why? The reason for that is that if they beat up against Chelsea, they create a 9-point gap between themselves and Chelsea. Really, if Manchester City win in the same weekend and Arsenal fail to win, that point gap that they have against Manchester City, that is 7, could be reduced to 4 or 5. But also, if both teams win, then Arsenal keep that healthy distance of 7 points with Manchester City, because after Chelsea, they have another London derby against Brentford, after which they'll play Aston Villa, then have a couple of games come in, and then I think before we take the turn of January, they will have first Aston Villa again. So it's going to be a very, very difficult run of fixtures, really, for the Gunners coming up. But we'll wait and see. Do let me know what your predictions are for those respective games. You can leave a comment down in the comment section. We are waiting for the resumption of second half. The Manchester City game is back, as well as that of Napoli. Those games are back. Maybe, I don't know. I have a feeling, perhaps, we should follow up on another Champions League game. Then tomorrow, Real Madrid are playing away to Olympiacos. Paris Saint-Germain will welcome Tottenham Hotspurs. If Tottenham Hotspurs dare play the way they played against Arsenal over the weekend, PSG could put 7 past them. No kidding about that. Then Liverpool will be at home against PSV Eindhoven. Liverpool should not take a PSV Eindhoven lightly, because in one of their last 2 fixtures in the UEFA Champions League, I seem to remember them beating Napoli by 6-2. So really, they ought to be cognizant of that fact. Then Inter Milan against Atletico de Madrid. If it were the traditional Atletico Madrid, I would say that game would end in a 1-1 draw or even a goalless draw. But there's a sharp contrast between the Diego Simeone of 2011 and the one we have today. So expect some goals in there. But Inter Milan are one of those teams that do not really concede. They do not concede that much. So, please keep that in mind. In any case, in fact, they've only conceded 1 goal so far this season in the UEFA Champions League. They've conceded 1, and they've, of course, scored 10. Then there's only 1 team in the UEFA Champions League after 4 games that is yet to concede a goal, and that's Arsenal. But I believe, without an ounce of doubt, for some reason, that tomorrow they are going to concede their first goal or goals in the UEFA Champions League when they come up against Bayern Munich. Barcelona have made some halftime changes, introducing Marcus Rashford. So defensively, I would want to know, is it Fermin Lopez that has been sacrificed? Because Eric Garcia has been pushed to play in that back line alongside Balde, Kunde, and who else was it? I need to quickly revert to that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry. Okay, yes. Yes, and Pau Kubasi, yes. Pau Kubasi was the name I was looking for. Really? Anyway. Barcelona will have to triple their effort, not even double it. Oh. Alejandro Garnacho's attempt did not have the power that he wanted it to have. I was saying Barcelona will need to triple their effort if they are to get even a point out of this game. Otherwise, I see Chelsea scoring two more goals, if not three, in this game if they continue the way they did in the first half. The armband had been transferred to Frankie de Jong. Remember, Barcelona down to 10 men following the sending off of Ronald Araujo, the Barcelona captain. Meanwhile, Andre Santos is is one of those that has been introduced for Malo Gusto, who was booked in the first half, and then Ferran Torres paved the way for Marcus Rashford. So that is what is happening. Trying to find. Oh, I was in the wrong feed. Juventus have an equalizer against Bodo Gilmot. Olympic Marseille have equalized against Newcastle. Think we should keep tabs on that game as well. Trying to find out who the goal scorer for Olympic Marseille was for that equalizer. Oh, it's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang with the equalizer. Usual suspects. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And it's 2-0. Andre Santos, coming off the bench, has scored. Oh, the flag is up for offside. The flag is up for offside. But wow, Jules Koundé was sent home by Alejandro Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho sent Jules Koundé to the cleaners. Oh, the goalkeeper should have been doing better in that moment. Really, Joan Garcia, you ought to do better than that in that moment. Barcelona seem like they do not have a plan B. Oh, missed watching that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang goal that is just scored against Newcastle. Oh, hold on, mate. Is it 2-0? Sorry, is it 2-1? Beautiful tapping on the near post. Aubameyang sliding in. I think it is Timothy Weah that crosses in that ball, and Aubameyang puts a foot to it and beats Nick Pope at the near post, and Roberto Di Zerbi goes into wild celebrations. And what a turnaround. Olympique Marseille are leading against Newcastle by 2-1. Both goals scored by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in the second half. Somebody being wasteful there. Oh, nearly got the third. Højbjerg put that straight to Nick Pope. Oh, easy catch for Nick Pope. Roberto Di Zerbi, they are almost screaming to say, oh. Apologies, we had our attention on the Newcastle Olympique Marseille game for a moment there because Emerson Pereira has been given a yellow card for very serious tackle on Joe Willock. Meanwhile, Chelsea is still trying to push for a second, but Barcelona have been made very uncomfortable on the ball. Are playing so many loose passes. They're playing so many loose passes and get caught out. Wow, Willian Estavao doubles Chelsea's lead. It's 2-0. Brilliant, sort of almost a solo goal. Brilliant. Frankie de Jong with the loose pass in midfield. Chelsea win it back, playing Estavao, and off they go. 2-0 to Chelsea. I mean, such a beautiful performance, really. Andre Santos celebrates with Frankie de Jong. Andre Santos wins the ball back. Good quick fit from Estavao. Balde can't put in the tackle or the block. It's a bit late for it. And Joan Garcia is beaten to his near post with quite a sharp strike. And it's 2-0 in favor of Chelsea. Meanwhile, Juventus are also leading by 2-0 against Bodo Glimt. Luis Openda did score the equalizer in the 48th minute, but Juventus have just found what separates them. Meanwhile, Manchester City are 2-0 down against Bayer Leverkusen. Patrick Schick has scored the other goal in that game. I did not see that one coming. My own prediction had been a 2-1 victory or 3-1 victory. I think a 2-1 victory for Manchester City, but they do find themselves 2 goals down as in after 60 minutes. Then where else? Napoli is still goalless. Dortmund is still leading. Napoli against Karabakh is still goalless. Dortmund are still leading by 1-0 against Villarreal. That goal scored by Gurisa, and then I need to look at Manchester City's lineup because I mean, James Trafford is in goal, Kushanov at right back, left back is Aran Atonori, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Nico Gonzalez, Rico Lewis in midfield alongside Tijan Reinders, Oscar Bob, Omar Mamush, and Savio. I see what Pep Guardiola did here. He completely overhauled his team that lost to Newcastle over the weekend. Because I think the only player that started over the weekend was Nico Gonzalez that is in this team. All the rest, from the goalkeeper, Kushanov, Ake, Atonori, Reenders came off the bench in that loss to Newcastle. Omar Mamush did start. It was about Erling Haaland with Jeremy Doku, and I mean, that's Pep Guardiola for you. And by the way, guys, for those of you that can't remember, when we were doing that preview, I did mention it that my only reservation when it came to Pep. All right, we are back. We are back. Apologies on that. Our internet suddenly went off. I do not know why, what caused it, but suddenly we found ourselves having lost connection. But let's resume. Let's resume the broadcast from where we stopped it from. I do understand that not much has changed in the scoreline for some of our games, but apart from that game for Borussia Dortmund, that game is now 3-0 with Dortmund leading up against Villarreal. So quite interesting. Okay. Yes. Oh, Olympique Marseille coming so close to making it 3. Coming so close to making it 3. But yeah, so Gurisa with a brace as well as Karim Adeyemi, but Johan Foyth of Villarreal was given a red card in the 52nd minute, and quickly 2 minutes later, Dortmund scored the second, and 4 minutes later, they got their third. So Villarreal are down to 10 men. Just as much as Barcelona are. So that's what is transpiring on that side of things, Oh, anyways. Okay. Not again. Not again. All right. Just having our setup, restored back to normal before we proceed. But yeah, we're in the right, place. I don't know. It's too hot here in Kampala. That's why you see me trying to, rid myself of the sweat. It's a bit of a hot night as we speak. Very, very hot weather today throughout the course of the day, and has been like that for the last couple of days. It's a rainy season, surprisingly, but it's Uganda. You get the sun and the rain in almost equal measure when it chooses to. Oh, Ganban, was that a handball? Yeah, it was a handball, but the hand was in a natural position, so it won't be given as a penalty. You're not missing much. We've entered into the 70 something minutes for most games. The one we're watching along is in the 69th minute of the game. So, but like I promised you, I'll keep you abreast on now everything, all the updates, all the live scores as we speak. Meanwhile, Napoli are also leading by 2 goals to nil in their own game. A penalty scored by, Rasmus Højlund missed a penalty in the 56th minute of the game. Then Scott McTominay scored in the 66th minute to give Napoli the lead. That was the Italian Serie A player of the year last season, in Scott McTominay. And then I'm trying to find out who scored the other goal. But that name has not yet been brought to my feed. But the game is in the 73rd minute of the game. Napoli looking for their third victory of the campaign in as far as the UEFA Champions League is concerned. But yeah, Scott McTominay is one of those one of the most trusted lieutenants within the Napoli ranks. Therefore, who are under the charges of Antonio Conte, who guided them to their Scudetto last season at the expense of Inter Milan, who are in among the chasing pack. Danban, with a bit of a high boot, scraping the thigh of Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg. Chelsea on the counter-attack. Wow, what a run. What a run from Pedro Neto. He fancies his best. Joan Garcia to the rescue. Wow, Olympic Massa quite athletic. Oh, brilliant pass. Newcastle are being given a run for their money in that game against Olympic Marseille. Olympic Marseille just went on a counter-attack there. Mason Greenwood, Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg are all involved in there, but Newcastle did well to recover, to defend. Chelsea are dominating their affairs here. Liam Delap trying to get his name on the score sheet. Chelsea made some changes, obviously, during our internet glitch break, forced break. Sami Mia is the other goal scorer for Napoli. It's an own goal, but Napoli leading by 2 goals to nil. Among the other changes made, Alejandro Garnacho paved the way for Liam Delap with Pedro Neto moving to the wings there. But Chelsea are winning here tonight. And Newcastle going to suffer their second defeat of the UEFA Champions League this season. Or are they going to fight their way back into picking a point or perhaps winning it all? There's still time to play in that one as well. Meanwhile, Robert Sanchez has largely been untroubled in that Chelsea goal, as overly confident for Balde to go on that kind of run. Chelsea probing for the third, and it's increasingly coming. And it's 3-0. Delap had scored, but another offside. How many goals have Chelsea scored? 4, and they've been ruled out through offside. Yeah, that was overly delayed. Pedro Neto's overly delayed pass got a Fernandez offside, and by the time Liam Delap scores, Newcastle are making changes, withdrawing Anthony Gordon, who is returning from injury, for Nick Voltmada. The goal is still being checked. Meanwhile, we hold our breath whether it could be given. Chelsea could go 3 up. Chelsea could go 3 up. It's been given. It's been given. 3-0 to Chelsea. It's been given. We had to hold our breath there. At long last, Liam Delap gets on the score sheet for Chelsea. Chelsea too good for Barcelona on the night. Too good. I don't know why. For some reason, I find it a cliche, if not a bit awkward, when players celebrate a goal after it's been confirmed by VAR. I mean, by that time, you sort of lost the steam and the emotion of it. That's how I look at it. Goal stands, and Chelsea lead by 3-0. There's nothing, absolutely nothing, that Barcelona can do in this game to get back. Hell, I don't see them scoring even one. And Barcelona constantly getting caught out of possession. Why are you passing it backwards? You're searching for a goal. You do not have that luxury. Yet another English team giving a Spanish team a run for their money, taking them literally to the cleaners. We saw Liverpool beat Real Madrid. If it had not been for Thibaut Courtois, it could have been more than just a 1-0 victory for Liverpool on the night. And then here we are, Chelsea putting 3 past Barcelona, and the game is far from finished. Chelsea came close to making it 4. Barcelona even laboring to try and build that ball from the back. You're outnumbered. You're losing every ball. Let's see what's happening in the other fixtures. Manchester City are nowhere near getting back in that game. Irrespective of some of the changes that they may have done, withdrawing Oscar Bob, Omar Mamosh, Reko Reis, Atnori, and Kushinov for Brad Erling Haaland, Ryan Chiki, Jeremy Doku, Nico O'Reilly, and Phil Foden. You know, Anthony Elanga came so close to finding the equalizer for Newcastle, but it was not meant to be. The Olympic Marseille goalkeeper did really well to keep that one out. Rafinha forcing Robert Sanchez into a save, almost pulled one back for Barcelona. Almost. Okay. Manchester City can't find their way back. Jesus Christ. Somebody's making money out there. Meanwhile, this game between Slavia Praha and Bilbao is still goalless. Not many changes in terms of the scorelines. Bodo Glimt are still 2-1 behind against Juventus. Juventus's goals were scored by Lois Openda and Winston McKennie, were the goal scorers to cancel out Oli Diedrich Bloomberg's 27th minute goal that had given Bodo Glimt the lead. And like I've told you, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang with 2 goals in 4 minutes to cancel out Harvey Barnes' 6-minute goal and then give Olympique Marseille the 2-1 lead against Newcastle, while Borussia Dortmund's Grace with the brace, as well as Karim Adeyemi on target there as Villarreal are behind by 3-0. And then Grimaldo as well as Patrick Schick scoring against Manchester City for Man City to be 2 goals behind. That means, by the way, Manchester City suffered their second consecutive defeat following their 2-1 defeat over the weekend against Newcastle, if it does finish the way it is. And wouldn't that be their what? 5th loss of the season across all competitions, having lost already 4 in the Premier League? That's not to be corrected. But I think they had already lost a game in the Champions League. I don't remember particularly against who. Let's say Man City had already lost one. Possibly. Not really. This could be their first loss. Yeah, they had 2 wins. They had 3 wins and 1 draw. So this could be their first loss. I mean, on the back of that brilliant performance against Borussia Dortmund before the international break, football is almost unfair, to say the least. Newcastle with a free kick in a very sort of beautiful spot, a couple of feet away from the 18-yard box area, mark, and it's Sandro Tonali stepping in, blazes that over the bar. Oh, beautiful stuff. Olympique Marseille are having to defend really hard against this Newcastle side as they seek for an equalizer in that game. Joshua Achepong deemed too enthusiastic for that ball, ending up committing a foul. Who do you give the man of the match performance? Do you go with Moises Caicedo? Do you go with Rachel James? Do you go with Enzo Fernandez? Esteval? I mean, just have been so good. They've been so good tonight. Any of those does deserve it. But meanwhile, in tomorrow's games, the early kickoffs at 8:45 p.m. East African time. Pafos will be at home against Monaco, while Copenhagen will be at home against Kairati Almaty. And then in the late kickoffs at 11 p.m., Olympiacos will be at home against Real Madrid. Sporting CP will welcome Braga, while Eintracht Frankfurt will be up against Atlanta. PSV will be away to Liverpool, while Inter will play away at the Wanda Metropolitano against Atletico de Madrid. And then at Parc des Princes, PSG will welcome Tottenham Hotspurs. Realist Arsenal will be at home against Bayern Munich. And I think that's a date that we do have for match day 5 to conclude. Of course, match day 6 will soon get underway around 10th December. Oh, Juventus up against Bodo Glimt. That game is 3-2 in favor of Juventus. Sonda Brandstad scored a penalty in the 87th minute, while Jonathan David had scored in the first minute of each time to give Juventus the lead. Bodo Glimt had found the equalizer in that one. Juventus trying to claw their way into a second victory in the UEFA Champions League this season. So that's the look of things at the moment. Napoli is still leading by 2-0. A game is almost ending. Manchester City have been beaten by 2-0. That game has concluded. Like I said, Grimaldo and Patrick Schick were the goal scorers for Bayer Leverkusen. Then the game between Napoli and Karabakh is close to its closure. Same applies for that game between Juventus and Bodo Glimt. We're into the 93rd minute of the Barcelona game and Chelsea. And then, of course, the game between Olympic Marseille and Newcastle is also edging closer to a wrap-up. Slavia Praha, as well as against Athletic Bilbao, that one is also equally soon coming to a close there. So we are waiting. Full-time score, Chelsea 3, Barcelona 0, goes from Jules Kounde's own goal. Willian Esteval and Liam Delap have been enough for Chelsea to beat up against a 10-man Barcelona by 3-0. That game between Olympic Marseille and Newcastle is also getting wrapped up. Napoli have beaten up against Karabakh by 2-0. We are waiting for a conclusion on all the other fixtures. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang seems to be limping, best cramping as he comes off, still has it in him to score. Yeah, it's all finished for Juventus, winning that game by 3-2 against Bodo Glimt. We are waiting for the final whistle in the Olympic Marseille and Newcastle game, as well as that of Borussia Dortmund alongside against Villarreal, and the one between Slavia Praha and Athletic Bilbao. We are waiting for the final whistles for those respective games. But looks like Newcastle have been beaten from the look of things. Oh, 5 minutes were added. We're into the 4th minute of stoppage time there. Yep, we're waiting for those final results to wrap it up in as far as those respective fixtures are concerned. In as far as the Tuesday, March the 5 of the UEFA Champions League is concerned. Oh, Nick Voltmada, so close to almost latching onto that ball to find the equalizer. It's game over between Slavia Praha and Athletic Bilbao. That game has finished goalless. Like I said, we are waiting for the final whistle here between Newcastle, and we're already into the 95th minute of the game. Borussia Dortmund against Villarreal, we're into stoppage time. We are already into stoppage time for that game. Beautiful, beautiful night of football. I don't know. Have we gotten any predictions right? Because we only made predictions, I think, for 2 games. No, I think I went for a draw between Newcastle and Olympic Marseille, and Olympic Marseille winning. Went for Manchester City victory. Man City have been beaten. I went for Barcelona win. They've been sent to the cleaners. Not a good day in office in as far as predictions go. So if I do forego them tomorrow, please excuse me. And given this kind of performance, I do not know whether Pedri will be able to make it to tomorrow's broadcast. I really don't know whether they will be able to make it to, to the broadcast tomorrow, given how things have gone for Barcelona, tonight. Not encouraging one bit, not encouraging. But we're into the 96th minute of the game, and the referee is still saying, play on. We still have time. Play on. And that's basically what is happening. Arms are up for Olympic Marseille players. We're into the 97th minute. Their arms are up, asking for that final whistle. But the referee is taking his time. He's saying, play the game. I'm still enjoying it. Some people are holding on to their dear breath. It's game over. Olympic Marseille 2-1 Newcastle. And then that game between Borussia Borussia Dortmund and Villarreal is the one that is yet to be wrapped up. Is the only game that is yet to be wrapped up out of tonight's UEFA Champions League games, and it is in the 94th minute. For those of you that are wondering, action is being wrapped up there as well as we speak. Wow, we've been at this for the last 2 hours, coming on 2 hours. It's 1 hour and 58 minutes. Yep, we have to see it all through to its logical conclusion. I mean, I don't know. I hope the results tomorrow are not as mean as the ones we've seen today. Not a good day in office for English teams. 2 lost, 1-1. Tomorrow you have 2 in action. That's Liverpool and Arsenal. Then on Thursday you will have, of course, Aston Villa in the UEFA Europa League as well as Nottingham Forest, and then Crystal Palace in the UEFA Conference League, and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's almost getting wrapped up here as well, between Borussia Dortmund as well as Villarreal. It's getting wrapped up quite soon. We're into the 6th minute of added time. But while we are at it, I wish to say thank you so much to SD for being part of tonight's podcast. Thank you so much, Raymond, Tonika. Thank you so much, Black Rose and Chris Cross, and every single one of you that managed to chip in into tonight's broadcast. It's been really, really, you made it worthwhile. You've made it worthwhile for us to stay on here and deliver to you what the results are in as far as tonight is concerned. Funny thing is, Borussia Dortmund with the fourth goal. At the death of the game, they found the fourth goal. Svensson with a brilliant header. Beautiful cross comes down from, I think, the left flank, and then he puts his head to it and he hits the back of the net. And that game has equally been wrapped up. Full-time score 4-0. That was the last kick of the game, as Borussia Dortmund put 4 past Villarreal in the UEFA Champions League. Excuse me. So you've been such a very wonderful audience. Let's look to do this again tomorrow. I've told you what fixtures are to come, and our primary focus will be on that game between Arsenal and Bayern Munich, but we'll keep our eyes on the PSG game against Tottenham Hotspur, as well as Atletico de Madrid and Inter Milan. I think two big games there. Maybe depending on what level of interest, maybe I will put a poll out there. Maybe it will be Liverpool PSV, given the kind of recent form that Liverpool have been on. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure doing this with you. Let's do this again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and review what that action means and the preview for the subsequent evening. So yeah, it's been very, very entertaining for us tonight, for those of you that enjoyed those respective games. But let's catch up again tomorrow morning. Stay blessed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.